Ladies and gentlemen, what keeps organizations from sharing data with each other? It's obvious there's value in sharing data. For instance, we at Mercedes-Benz, we have various different data sets distributed across the whole organization that we should and we can use to improve customer experience. Just to give you an example, if we use data from our repair shops, the garage, we can collect that data, we can ship it to our quality team. They can analyze it, look for patterns, understand what parts break and why. They can adapt the production process. And then ultimately, our customers don't need to go to the garage as much anymore, right? So clear improvement in customer experience. I'm sure that every organization or ecosystem has similar examples on how data can improve their business or their operations. And as we heard this morning from Professor Black and others, with the growing importance of AI, we'll also see a growing need to share data, right? So you can think of data as a foundation for meaningful AI models and AI applications. So what's limiting us then from sharing data with each other? We just heard a lack of trust. I think that's part of it. But we like to look at these three components here. One is concern in data privacy and control. The other one is data in silos and how easy it is to access the data. And the third one is how can I interoperate or how can I integrate different data sets that I have to get kind of a common understanding out of them. In other words, I'm interested in using my data to provide insights to solve problems, but I'm not willing to share my data, not knowing what it's used for. And that specific question, how can I combine and share data with others without losing control of my data is what Shrikant and his team in Singapore are addressing with their technology and what he will show us now.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very pertinent question when it comes to data and AI. And to solve the internal problem of data challenges and to solve the industry problem of data challenges, that is where we developed Acentrik. So it is internally developed within the Mercedes-Benz environment, but we changed the business model at a very early stage that this is something that we also want to offer to the external enterprises. And we address these challenges in three ways. The first one is through the architecture, we have something called an edge node infrastructure that we deploy closer to the data. Whether it is a cloud environment, your on-prem environment, wherever it is, it's a Kubernetes environment that you set up, and all these edge nodes are actually connected to one big data exchange platform. So in a way, you're keeping data in silos, you're not moving the data, but you're still establishing the connectivity. The second one, computation at source, and this is our USP compared to other players in the market. This edge node that we spoke about, it's not just for connecting and transmitting, but it is also about the computation. So this edge node also computes the data orchestrated by the platform. So why this is so powerful is that if you have sensitive data, you can bring in a consumer, still have access to the data and get insights from it, but without moving your raw data. A simple example to that would be Isle of Man partnered with AI Singapore for AI use cases. With this technology, the data from Singapore stays within Singapore, Isle of Man's data stays within Isle of Man, but both these parties can get insights from the data for a wider use cases. So cross-border data transfer, access to sensitive data, access to confidential data, all this will be mitigated with computation at source because the raw data stays where it is and you're only allowing insights to send back to the consumer. The last one is the role-based access control. So we develop this at various stages. So at a platform level, you have publisher, consumer who can publish, who can consume, but also at the data product level, like antitrust policies. If one company cannot share data with certain company, but share data to the other company, fine-grained permissions is made it possible. Now, all these features we actually packaged into a SaaS instance and put a lot of enterprise practices because we've come from an enterprise. We understand the importance of having strong compliance, strong governance, strong access policies, strong security. So this is what we also packaged into a solution. So it's a product from enterprise to enterprises and governments. The key question is what sets us apart? There are marketplaces in the platform, in the market right now. So one, we enable insights from data without moving the data. And as a data owner, I can actually control what computation can run on my environment in my control and insights being sent back to the consumer. The second one, we use Web3 as an enabler. So here you are actually tokenizing the data access and ownership, which means you can set data as an IP, you can set a proprietary value to that, you can also set a commercial value to that, right? And the last one is at any point of time, Acentrik, do not store your data, do not access your data. It is just an orchestrator. We spoke about trust. You don't need to trust the platform because it doesn't store your data. We spoke a bit about data as an asset, data as an IP, data privacy. Now, why is this important? Let's look at the Isle of Man context. This is something which is exactly fitting into the data stewardship. So from my opinion, it is a very innovative and ambitious approach, tagging data as an asset and showing it in the balance sheet. So all that is now made possible with technology as an enabler. So this is a layered approach that we are presenting to Isle of Man. You have Acentrik technology as an enabler for data foundation, and that data foundation will be enabler for a wider use cases, whether it is AI use cases, socioeconomic benefits, or data frameworks. So this is a 3-layer approach. There's a technology layer, there's a corporate layer, and then there is a use case layer. This is possible with the technology that we have. Now, this is a technology part. Compute to data privacy, that is good. But let's take one concrete example on what does it mean for the region. Last few weeks, we got this opportunity to speak to some of the stakeholders in the gaming industry, and we observed that this has been a long-term data sharing challenge, close to 2 decades, because the regulators need access to the data to come up with better policies. The researchers need access to the data to come up with better frameworks, but the gaming companies have the data and they're worried about privacy because it's a private data, right? So how do they actually share it? Now this with Acentrik, it is made possible. As you can see on the right side, you have the consumer layer, you have the provider layer, and then you have the consumer layer, which is the researchers and the regulators, and then you have the use case layer. Now, this is possible because you are having this compute environment. We are actually having compute environment inside the gaming company environment. So if I am gaming company A, I have this sensitive data, I approve certain computation to run on top of my data set inside my environment, and I'm only sending the insights back. So this way, the researchers and regulators get access to the data, which they were not able to get in the last so many years. And gaming companies can access better data, provided they approve certain computations in the environment. Because in this case, the raw data, which is the sensitive data, is not leaving the control of the gaming companies. But you are still getting insights from the consumer point of view. Ideally, we would like to enable responsible gaming because it's a big industry here, but that's a far vision, right? But how do we actually reach there? What are the clear execution steps? Again, we took one simple use case, which is play breaks. If you are introducing play breaks, which you already did, how is it affecting the overall synergies there? Is it going on a positive trend or is it going on a negative trend? And for that, you need data. And we wanted to start small, but think big kind of a setup. So identify one objective, which is play breaks correlation to the overall objective. Identify the stakeholders who are the gaming, identify 2-3 data products, 1 regulator, 1 researcher. So start small. Set up the platform, which we will be doing. Onboard these data products, 2-3 data products, have computation at its source, get insights. And then you achieve this objective, but add on use cases to this and move towards the objective of responsible gaming. So that would be the final objective. How do we enable responsible gaming for the whole Isle of Man? But how do we start small within a small area and demonstrate the data privacy and then take use case by use case approach? So that's a clear, and this is something we can do it in 4 months, also based on our discussions with the stakeholders. So bring in the data products, bring in the stakeholders, deploy a platform, and demonstrate the value out of it. So what does it mean for Isle of Man on a bigger aspect, right? So there's gaming industry, of course, but there's a lot more to it because the technology is the enabler. You have the data privacy issue that can be sorted out. It can be used for supporting public services. Isle of Man is a small environment. You can actually innovate much faster, move towards the direction of smart city planning, have a national data exchange, bring in an open data ecosystem. The second one is you can enhance the conservation strategies. Bring in all the players who are contributing to the biosphere. All the data will be on board, and then you can run insights and get data out of it. And last one is also come up with a better data-driven policies. So there's a lot more in terms of the technology. Underlying aspect is still the same. How do I actually preserve the data privacy and give the control back to the data owners? And the reason why we are also here is we believe that the data stewardship and data foundation is a very strong, innovative, and ambitious target. And we believe that we have the technology to make it happen. So we want Isle of Man to be the center of excellence for digital economy and to be the pioneer in data and AI space. And this is something we want to make it happen with Acentrik, which is a product from Mercedes-Benz. Thank you very much.